Good morning, brothers and sisters. It's Pastor Tim Henderson. I want to bring you some world news update. In Al Jazeera, it reports, this was hours ago, but Syria says Israeli air attack injures 6 soldiers when they target military positions in Syria. Now, you know that there's a reason. Israel is very preemptive against those smart devices and military positions in Syria by Iran, by Hamas, and then also the activity from Hezbollah. So there has been an attack, air attack. Now, they report that the Syrian air defense that they're using system intercepted missiles, but they are reporting 6 soldiers were injured. Then, in times of Israel, it reports that the IDF, or Israeli Air Force, targeted missile positions, basically a missiles factory in Syria, and killed 17 Iranian soldiers. This is all within the past, I'd say, 12 hours probably, that these things are happening. So we're seeing activity right now in the Middle East. Keep your eyes open. We are in, as I say all the time, the dominoes are set, the stage is set for the fulfillment of Isaiah 17, the complete and utter destruction of Damascus. It will be uninhabitable, and Ezekiel's war. That means the rapture, because nothing more needs to happen. Brothers and sisters, the rapture of the church is imminent. We see it. Wow, right, I go on all the time about it, but we see it, and that's exciting. We want to occupy and redeem this time. Then in the BBC, this is really interesting. There's a lot of anticipation around the Trump peace plan, especially since Benjamin Netanyahu has been reelected prime minister for, I believe it is the 5th term. Now, if you remember, Benny Gantz, the general, who it was a close race, he had publicly stated that if he won, and he anticipated he would, that if he won, he would ask the Trump administration to delay the peace plan, that he fully anticipated being cooperative with it, but delay it to give him time to establish his government. So Mike Pompeo has tried to be as, what's the word I want? Not revealing. I can't think of the word, but not to reveal the terms of the peace plan, although we know there have been leaks. Are they true or not? What's interesting is in the BBC article about this, they talk about the peace plan will be different than what's worked in the past, that Pompeo said we know hasn't worked. And what's being leaked is that billions of dollars will be offered to the Palestinians to offer them autonomy rather than statehood. So who knows? Some of the leaks say that they'll annex part of the West Bank, and yet right before the election, Prime Minister Netanyahu said that he would annex West Bank territory into what we would consider sovereign territory for Israel. If you know the West Bank, there's about 2.5 million Palestinians living there. There's 400,000 Israelis living there. And Netanyahu, right before the election, said, no, we're going to annex significant territory of the West Bank because it's considered occupied right now. We're going to annex that into sovereign Israeli territory. Also, the Trump administration has called for countries like Egypt and Jordan to give citizenship to Palestinians. When they live in other lands and where they live now, they are considered refugees still. That's longer than most people groups. And so the Trump administration has said, hey, you give them citizenship, therefore there'll be no need for land. They'll have their citizenship. It's going to be real interesting to see what happens with this. based on this BBC article, it's basically saying billions will go to Palestinians. That would not surprise me because it comes down to the art of the deal. And they're calling this the deal that Jared Kushner and Mike Pompeo are working on. They're calling this the deal of the century. So not surprised that we've already said many times, it will be economic in nature. And so, based on this article, it's alluding to the fact that they will not call for dividing the land of Israel. That's going to be real interesting to see, so we'll have to wait and see. Again, this article states, leads us to believe, from what Mike Pompeo has said, that it will offer Palestinians, through billions of dollars, the opportunity to be autonomous versus giving them statehood. I don't see the Palestinians going for that. Mahmoud Abbas, do not see it, but that's okay. Then in Radio Farda, an Iranian commander, General Kiamors Haidari, said he basically threatened U.S. forces around the world. He's threatened U.S. forces since the U.S., the Trump administration, declared the Iranian Revolutionary Guard a terrorist group, and Iran likewise, actually before, even when the threat from the U.S. was they were going to do that, and they did, and I reported on that, Iran declared the U.S. military a terrorist organization. Things are just really heating up. Then in my own news agency, they talk about, now this is fake news. This is what they do. They talk about Israeli forces, military forces, or IDF, firing in open fields poor farmers in Palestinian land, or poor fishermen. That's what they do. They try to make the IDF evil, and that's not true. If you follow the true news that comes out, the IDF is always there, and even those who are their enemies coming in to hurt them, particularly children and young people, they meet their medical needs and they get them back to their families. It's the same way we have fake news in America and other places in the world. There's fake news regarding Israel. And brothers and sisters, we are living in a day where the globalist agenda is alive. We see the one world government and the one world religion. It is already, the foundation is already there. It's being formed. I report on this all the time. At any moment, the bride is going to be out of here, and the Antichrist is going to be thrilled to establish his one world government and the one world religion. Well, that's it for the news update. Soon we will be doing our live prayer. Bring your supply. Hope you can join us. God bless.